All right, listeners, what's up? This is Zaheen here. Today we'll be covering Muse's not latest album because it's not technically out yet, but it's their next upcoming album. It's called The Resistance. It's going to be out in let's see, what is today? Today is September 11th. It's going to be out in 3 days, September 14th. We here at Retox have an exclusive copy. Actually, well, I can't really say it's an exclusive copy, but I did get a sweet listen to the entire album, and well, I'll cover it all for you. So The Resistance starts off with pretty much how most good albums start: hard, edgy, ready to go. The first song is also the first single off the album, entitled Uprising. Clearly is a musical uprising. It first starts off with a nice groove, then goes on to an arguably creepy portion, right before the vocals kick in. Matthew Bellamy, and I apologize if I completely butcher his name, does a good job creating a vocal progression throughout this entire song, starting a bit soft, then getting to a rise with the singing as the main melody begins. Once the climax hits, you're in for a ride. Honestly speaking, this song is very reminiscent of Black Holes and Revelations, their previous album. The next song, Resistance, begins like a soft interlude, later introducing the piano. This is probably one of my least favorite songs, just because, I don't know, I don't really like the verse on it, but it doesn't mean it was poorly executed. The main melody kicks in quickly, mainly driven by a call response with Bellamy and the background vocals. Every time the song repeats a verse from earlier, something is always added, which is a quirk that I wish most other bands use when they write albums. The end of the song ends as if it were the end of a sci-fi movie. Following Resistance is Undisclosed Desires, which begins with a club-like orchestral hybrid entrance. I don't know how to describe that. You got the beat of a club, but then you got like an orchestra. Anyways, this is essentially used as the base of the entire song, so you get to hear that beginning throughout the entire song, with different instruments popping in and out throughout the entire song. I say that a lot, don't I? Okay. Eventually the vocals come in, and they float on top of the entire song, because I wanted to throw it in there again. If any of you actually listen to the lyrics of the song, you may come to the same conclusion as me. This has got to be the oddest, creepiest love song ever, and that's if you can call it a love song. Now, if Knights of Sidonia were to ever have a direct sequel, it would have to be United States of Eurasia. I mean, come on, the lyrics are the perfect conclusion to the increasingly chaotic situation in Knights of Sidonia. Throughout the song, there are phases of symphony, Arab-flavored music, and much to my surprise, parts I'd expect would come directly from Queen. It's almost like Queen and Muse collaborated on this song. Immediately following, or arguably a part of United States of Eurasia, is a piano ballad also known as Collateral Damage, which serves as the perfect transition into Guiding Light. Lyrically, I would call this piece a speech made by the defeated. Musically, I would call the speech a victory speech. Ironic, right? Even the guitar solo screams, "Vive la résistance! We have won!" Well, you think that they would have won, whoever they are. That is until Unnatural Selection kicks in. This song is simply an adrenaline rush, even throwing in a few shouts of "hey." Then all of a sudden, the song just hits the brakes. Muse really pulls the tempo back, even giving the guitar a nice, cool, jazzy feature. This doesn't last long, though, because someone must have given these guys tons of candy halfway through writing the song. It picks back up to the rush it had earlier, then stops abruptly for the beginning of MK Ultra. Now, when I first read about Muse's upcoming album, I heard it was going to be pretty electronic. Let me tell you, this song is the electronic song of the album. Seriously, I mean, it's called MK Ultra. That just screams Saban and Power Rangers and whatever other sci-fi electronic. Okay, I digress. In some twisted sense of humor, the electronics turn into strings of an orchestra. Now, the next song, the beginning of this next song at least, really reminded me of Maroon 5's This Love.
Ouch.
No, I don't know how to describe it. But like the beginning of Maroon 5's This Love is just like, it has that like piano, like upbeat kind of thing. And that's exactly what this song does. I Belong to You, which is, you know, what I'm talking about right now, is Muse's big love song of the album, and no one really can argue with this fact. To prove my point, Bellamy sings in French for part of the song. And how much more romantic can that get? Muse takes us decades into the past, across the Atlantic Ocean, when people would take boats down rivers in Europe with a clarinetist serenading a lovely couple as they sail into the moonlight. This description may sound awfully gay to you, not that it's a bad thing, but honestly, that's the image that comes to mind while listening to this song, depending on where you are in the song. The conclusion slowly transitions into Exogenesis Symphony. Now, man, I don't know what to say about Exogenesis. Exogenesis is probably one of the most impressive pieces of music I've heard from a band in this generation.
How long is the album?
I have no idea. I should check Wikipedia. But
I'll check.
let me do that right now as I read. Okay, well, I mean, I don't want to say that, if you make a symphony, you're going to be like an awesome band. But what Muse does with Exogenesis it's golden. Now, Muse, I can't say plays the symphony in this 3-piece song, but you can, they really understood how to make an orchestra match the overall feeling of the album, eventually incorporating some electronics into the first part, Overture. Bellamy's high-pitched, eerie vocals make a return, only emphasizing the effect. Symphony serves to the listener. Okay. You may find Cross-Pollination, the next part of the symphony, strangely familiar. Yes, when listening to Cross-Pollination, I'm referring to Collateral Damage, that piano ballad earlier, but it also has hints of resistance with it. Cross-Pollination is a good example of how to take bits and pieces of an album and showing how even the most unlike portions of an album can meld together. The final portion of Symphony, Redemption, leaves us off with a cooling conclusion to the album. The first line of the album describes exactly how I feel about the album. Let's start over again. I think I'm going to go have another listen to this once I'm done with all this. Overall, I would call The Resistance one of the best albums of this year. We've listened to Muse find and define themselves with Showbiz and Origin of Symmetry, then redefine themselves with Absolution and Black Holes and Revelations. The Resistance serves as the definition point they achieved with Black Holes. They've learned the art of music well, almost to the point of mastery, and they wield their talents throughout the entire album. The album as a whole is a work of art, with each song relating to or connecting with the songs preceding and succeeding it. I don't imagine any of these songs breaking the mainstream, as much as, some of their older singles like Time Is Running Out or like Supermassive Black Hole. But, I guess that's a commentary of today's, society's taste in music. From start to finish, Muse takes us on a journey, and this journey was one hell of a ride. With that being said, I'd give this album a 5 out of 5. So, up next, I'm going to clip this out of the video because copyright issues. But, you just heard my review of Muse's upcoming album, The Resistance, and now we're going to play the first single off the album, Uprising, which is also the first song on the album. And you've heard it here first, at least as far as the station is concerned. You are listening to Retox on WRGW.
Yeah, we're going to close things off today with the quote of the week by good old Joe Wilson. How American is the name Joe Wilson?
It's very American.
It's more American than any of our names. So here's a quote by Joe Wilson, and then I'm going to close things off with Rodrigo Gabriela's Anu Man from their newest album, 1111. Just these two friends that play classical guitar, and they're awesome at it. So here's Joe Wilson, followed by the one and only Rodrigo Gabriela.
Good God.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.